Hey there, I'm Dayna Johnson, dental practice management expert, certified Dentrix trainer, and founder of Navoni, revolutionizing the dental industry through innovation and strategic leadership. It wasn't long ago that I lived in your shoes, navigating the daily challenges of managing a dental practice with the hopes and dreams of having a productive schedule, money in the bank, and getting home on time to my sweet daughter. After 25 years working in the dental practice and 17 years as a certified Dentrix trainer, I found my life's work, helping dental teams one-on-one, optimizing their systems and software. If you are looking to create the thriving dental practice you have always dreamed of and empower your high-performing dental team, you are in the right place. Let's get started.
Hey, my friends. Okay, so over the past couple of months, you've heard me talking a lot about the Integrated Health Records Project with FDI and Henry Schein. A couple weeks ago, I outlined for you the 8 core oral health indicators for integration. So I laid out the definition of all 8. And then I told you that I was going to then podcast about each of the 8 as to tips and ways that you can start documenting these 8 core oral health indicators in your practice. And this way, this will help you to be better prepared for when this project actually comes into integration. Right now, they have outlined the consensus statement. The project is already in development. And so my goal for you is to help you to be better prepared. So let's dive in to the number 1 on the list, which was periodontal health. And so the first thing that I want to say is that I know that you struggle with time to do periodontal charting. The other thing I'm going to say is, even though I understand that you are struggling with time, it's a non-negotiable. And so what we have to do in our practices is find ways to get it done. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, because you all know how to perio chart, okay? I don't need to teach you how to perio chart. You know how to do that. And so what I want to dive into more is, how can we create efficiencies, or how can we create better systems and processes inside of our dental practice, inside the treatment room, to help you get it done? Because it is a non-negotiable. It is a diagnostic procedure that we have to do in order to diagnose. So I was doing you probably have heard me say this story before. I was working with a practice in the Atlanta area, and I was going in to work with them for a 3-day in-office session with the team. And I always remote in and I do a pre-session assessment. So I remote into the office and I look around at their software. So I look around at the reports, because I'm a data geek. I love to look at numbers. I always look at numbers. Numbers tell a story. And I always look at, how are they using the reports? Where are they documenting information? And so that gives me a good indication of kind of what I'm going into. Well, while I was doing the assessment for this practice, I could not find a periodontal chart anywhere in Dentrix. And so my thought was, okay, well, they still must be writing them down on paper, and so they might still be using some version of a paper chart. And so that's what my thought process was. Well, I got into the practice, and my first day is always a full day of training with the team, no patients, so we can really focus and dive in deep. And one of my questions to the hygienist was, okay, so I didn't see any periodontal charting while I was doing my assessment. So let's talk about that for a second. And the reaction from the hygienist was, we don't have time to do it. And okay, so then I looked over at the doctor and I said, okay, tell me about that. He says, yeah. He says, they tell me that they don't have time to do it. So we don't get it done. Okay. Well, that's going to change today, And so we put some systems and processes together and, laid out a plan that worked for them. And they were all on board. We had all hands on deck. And we had a plan in place for periodontal charting for this practice. And because it's a non-negotiable for me, and because it's a diagnostic procedure and you cannot diagnose periodontal disease without it. And so then recently, I was working with this practice 4, 5, 6 years ago. I think it was pre-COVID. So it was at least 5 years ago. And then a couple weeks ago, I was doing another assessment for a practice that I'm going to be going into. Again, it's like, tell me where the periodontal charts are. Are you guys still using paper? And the practice was like, we don't do perio in our practice. And I go, do you refer it out to a specialist? And they said, no, we just don't do perio. We don't have any perio patients. I'm like, okay, time out for a second, because the ADA did a study. I think in 2019, they did a study, 2019, I think, and their results were, I think, 49.2% of adult Americans have some version of periodontal disease. So how are you telling me that 100% of your patients don't have periodontal disease? So that like goes against every study I've ever read. So, I wasn't talking to the doctor. I was talking to their admin team, and they said, we just don't know. We don't bill out any perio. And so that's a problem if you're not coding it correctly. Your hygienist may be doing perio, but maybe you're not coding it correctly. Maybe you're billing everything out as a prophy, which is a whole nother topic, which is a whole nother conversation. But if you have low perio numbers, we want to see periodontal coding numbers. We want to see periodontal numbers somewhere between 20 and 30%, especially because the national average is like 49.2%. So I want to see periodontal numbers 20 to 30%. So if the periodontal numbers are below 10, I'm raising the bar. I'm raising the voice up about where is your periodontal program in your practice. And so a lot of times it's that they're not coding it correctly. A lot of times is that because they're not diagnosing. And then sometimes it's just kind of a combination of multiple things.
Did you know that you could increase your team's productivity by up to 200% if you had a formal team training program in place? And businesses that do have a formal team training program in place also enjoy up to a 24% increase in profit margin. If you want to learn how and book a call with me, click on the show notes and book a free discovery call with me, and we will talk all about it.
So today, I want to talk about a couple things that you can put into place that may help you with the time issue, and just kind of stir up some ideas with you. Now, you may reach back out to me and say, hey, Dayna, we've tried that. Let's think about something else. You can always reach out to me and let's work together on how we can implement these periodontal charting options together. So one of the first things that you could try, and we did this in this Atlanta office, was they were doing imaging, bite wing images every 6 months. And what we find is that with most patients, doing bite wing imaging is we can stretch that out to a year. And so what the doctor was comfortable with was alternating the imaging and the periodontal charting. So they would do the bite wing imaging, the bite wings or the 6 series or 7 series, whatever you do in your practice. They were doing the imaging and alternating that with the periodontal charting. So at one visit, the patient would come in for their prophy or their perio maintenance. They would have their bite wing series done, and that's the time the doctor would come in and do the exam. And then the next 6 months, they would do the prophy or perio maintenance, or every 4 months, whatever it might be. And then the patient would come in for their perio maintenance or their prophy, and then they would do the periodontal charting. The doctor was good with this. Like, this was a really good plan for them. And so they were doing imaging and periodontal charting once a year, doctor exam once a year. Now, of course, this was the routine process for most patients. Now, of course, there are patients that may need imaging more often. Of course, there may be patients that need an exam every 6 months. But in this office, in order for them to make sure that they could get the periodontal charting completed at least once a year, because that's the standard, once a year periodontal charting, that's worked for this practice. And so that worked great. Other practices have a dedicated hygiene assistant. And so I have seen a lot of practices now boosting up their hygiene program to where they might be doing assisted hygiene with a dedicated assistant to the hygienist. And so this dedicated assistant has been doing the periodontal charting, might even be doing the final prophy for the hygiene patients after the hygienist has done the maybe the scaling or the health history review or things like that. Even the dental assistant could do the health history review, the imaging, and then assist the hygienist with the periodontal charting, and then turn the room over and get ready for the next patient. So that's also worked in many offices. When I was in my own practice, I would be summoned to the back maybe once or twice a day. It was no big deal. It might have taken me like 2 minutes out of my day to assist the hygienist with periodontal charting. It was super easy. I didn't mind. It got me out of my chair. I mean, I'm sitting at the front desk all day, doing great things, answering phones, talking to patients about treatment, talking to new patients. But I loved being able to get up out of my chair at least a couple times a day, go into the back and help my hygienist periodontal chart. I loved it. So that's an option too. Take advantage of other team members that might be able to help you. You have to punch in numbers, and you might have to document some recession and where the furcations are. So you do have to have a little bit of knowledge about what the hygienist is talking about. We also had a intern. We had an intern in our practice who was she was in high school. She had all the health, safety training, so she worked in the back. She helped turn rooms over. She was going into dental assisting school, and then she was going to move on to hygiene school. So we had an intern in our practice who also could help with periodontal charting. So that was also a very cost-effective way for us to be able to make sure once a year that we were able to get that periodontal charting completed. Finally, I want to talk to you about AI. Of course, AI is the hot topic of the year, it seems like. Now, BOLA AI, which is integrated directly into your patient chart and your perio chart, has been around for a couple years. Okay, so we can then dictate to the BOLA AI voice recorder our periodontal charting. We can dictate it right to the computer. The patient hears you calling out the numbers. So, the patient is involved. The computer is listening to your voice and documenting the periodontal charting as you go along. It's very simple to use. Dentrix Voice Perio has also been around for, oh my gosh, 20 years, 15 years or so, 20 years. So we've been able to do voice perio for many years. Dentrix has evolved their software, their perio voice software over the years, and it's gone through different software upgrades. You just wear a headset and you talk to it. So that's been around for a very long time. The BOLA AI is like a game changer. It just exploded the Dentrix voice program, and BOLA AI is now available. So what I would like for you to do is be curious about it. Everybody is all kind of worried. They have some fear and anxiety around AI, but it's like I was talking to 3 of my doctors. I'm at Thrive Live this week. I was talking to 3 of my doctors who I've worked with in the Michigan area, and they have integrated some amazing AI tools. Dentrix Detect AI with imaging, and they say it has been a game changer for their patients. Patients seem to really trust the second opinion of Detect AI, the imaging AI software. So it's been a game changer when talking to patients. Now, AI is really built to save us time. I've been using AI in my practice, in my work, for a lot of my article writing. And, I dictate to my AI assistant and it can help me spit out, ideas and brainstorming and all those kinds of things, that I never really had before. I was always handwriting things or dictating or documenting in a Word document. But now I can actually talk to my AI assistant, and you can do the same thing. You can talk to your AI assistant, Bola AI, when you're doing your periodontal charting. So I hope that these tips are helpful to you. It's very important to me that we work together on helping your practices save time so that these critical clinical documentation processes can be completed in the time required, in the time that you have with your patients. It's really important that we get these clinical documentations done. So this is my first of an 8-part series on the 8 core oral health indicators that are set for integration between the FDI with the FDI and the Henry Schein uh, project for health records. And so this is number 1 of 8. Periodontal health is number 1 on the core 8. So stay tuned. Up in the next few weeks, you'll hear number 2. Until then, please reach out to me if you have more questions about Bola AI. If you want me to help you, please reach out. My contact information is in this podcast notes, so you can reach out to me, book a call. We can talk about it. Okay. I hope this has been helpful. And if you have a colleague that would love this podcast, please share it with them. Also, rate it. Give us a 5-star review. We love 5-star reviews just as much as you do. And so I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I look forward to watching your journey of becoming a high-performing dental team.